My name is Molly McDonnell. I'm the Health Legislative Assistant for Congressman Leonard Lance. Congressman Lance represents the 7th Congressional District of New Jersey, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with New Jersey, it's not the shore. No offense to the shore, I love the shore. But so in addition to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the district because I think it's important. Our district has more pharmaceutical and medical device employees than any other district in the country. So we have a lot of resources and a very engaged constituency. We also have a lot of really wonderful research institutions that are doing really incredible work and are working with the industry. They're working with patient organizations to do really incredible work. And perhaps most importantly, we have a very engaged and a very robust patient advocacy community. And I'll get to this a bit more later, but people often ask why my boss got involved with the Rare Disease Caucus and if he had a personal connection to rare disease. It really was, in addition to Chairman Upton, the community in our district and the amount that they reached out to our office and came down to DC, came to our district offices, and shared their experiences. So I really can't overstate the importance of what you all are doing here this week. So I'll start off with the basics of what is a caucus. So it's basically a forum for members of Congress to voice constituent concerns. So whether that's a member, relaying stories that they've heard from their constituents, or giving their constituents a platform to come to DC and talk about their experiences and their challenges. It's an opportunity and a place to educate other members and staff. Members and staff learn in a number of different ways, and a big part of that is having meetings with different stakeholders. For me, I read constantly. I read reports and the news clips. But for the caucus, it's really something that it brings all of that together, and it brings all of the pieces into one place. So whenever you're trying to get a handle on an issue as either a member or a staff, you kind of, what I say, you take each person with a grain of salt, in that, every person is coming to an issue from a different perspective and with different needs and different challenges. So you have to be able to piece all of those stakeholders together in order to get the full picture. And so I think that's what the caucus offers, in that bringing all of those people together and providing a real complete picture of what's going on in a community. It also allows members to collaborate on ideas. Like I said, bringing all the different stakeholders together and facilitating those conversations, and ultimately understanding the policy needs and building support for legislation. So, obviously I'm here today to talk about the Rare Disease Caucus, but there's caucuses in all different aspects. So, there's disease-specific caucuses, whether it's the Arthritis Caucus or the Parkinson's Caucus. There's industry-specific. There's a Cement Caucus. There's a caucus on CPAs and accountants, which I'm sure is thrilling. But, sorry, again, no offense. There's also interest-specific. So, there's a 4-H caucus. There's an arts caucus, which I'll shamelessly plug. My boss is also a co-chair of. And we have a great event on Thursday with the Rare Artists event in the Rayburn Foyer, so I hope you'll see you all there. But again, I think they're just a really important organization and kind of a clearinghouse for everyone to come together. And so the mission statement for the Rare Disease Caucus is as follows. The Congressional Rare Disease Caucus is a forum for members of Congress to voice constituent concerns, collaborate on ideas, facilitate conversations between the medical and patient community, and build support for legislation that will improve the lives of people with rare diseases. So you see where I got a lot of the stuff from the previous slide. But so just a brief history of the Rare Disease Caucus. It was established originally in 2009 by then Congressman Upton of Michigan, who's now the chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. And when he took over that role as chairman, the Energy and Commerce Committee, as I'm sure you've heard today, has jurisdiction over a wide range of issues related to the rare disease community, whether that's FDA, healthcare reform, we have some Medicare issues as well. So, he felt that it was most appropriate to pass the torch on to someone else, and he selected my boss. And so my boss serves as the Republican co-chair, and Joe Crowley from New York serves as the Democratic co-chair. And really, when my boss took it over, the ultimate goal was really to bring greater awareness and greater congressional attention to the rare disease community. Many members of Congress and many staff have never met someone with a rare disease. They probably have never heard of many of the conditions that are represented here today. And so it was really important for him to bring more awareness and to bring people together to say, look, these are very real challenges, and though we, call it the rare disease community, it's a big sector of our population, and it's a really important public policy and public health issue that we need to look into. So, like I said, these are our House Republican and Democrat co-chairs of the Rare Disease Caucus. So we have Joe Crowley of New York and my boss. And my boss always makes the joke, which if you see him later on this week, hopefully I don't steal it from him, but that contrary to popular belief, New York and New Jersey can work together. And they have worked together for several years and very well. And, they're two people who may not agree on every issue, but I think that just underscores that these issues ultimately are nonpartisan. And as Max mentioned before, we are excited this year to expand our caucus to the Senate. So we recently added Senator Orrin Hatch and Senator Amy Klobuchar as our Senate co-chairs. And it's pretty rare to find a truly bipartisan and bicameral caucus. And I think that with the addition of the Senate co-chairs, we're really going to have greater reach into that chamber. And I think this is particularly important as it relates to 21st century cures. We in the House worked incredibly hard on that bill, and I think, a lot of us were disappointed that the transition into the Senate was perhaps not as smooth as we had hoped. And so I think that, being able to coordinate much more early on and with kind of greater frequency, that hopefully we'll be able to move these policies forward in a bipartisan and bicameral way and get them to the president's desk. So a huge part of what the caucus does is hold briefings. We typically hold quarterly briefings, and the audience is typically Hill staff, but also some members, patients, researchers, industry advocates, kind of the gamut. And just on this slide here are some topics of previous briefings. So, we try to look at broad issues that affect the entire community and how the needs of the rare disease community might be unique from other disease states. And I have to say, these briefings are always consistently very well attended. I run a couple of different caucuses, and sometimes it can be a challenge to fill the room, and you have to lure people in with food or other things, and we never have to do that for the Rare Disease Caucus. It's always standing room only, and a huge part of that is because we have really, really incredible panels. And I wish I could take credit for this, but I can't. Max was one person who plays a huge role in that. Julia, Jennifer Bernstein. We have a great team that really helps out a lot in putting together these panels. And so on Thursday, we're going to have Janet Woodcock come to our panel. I mean, that's a huge deal. And so, you're able to get really incredible perspectives and really authorities in their fields to talk about these important issues. And again, so our membership is now growing to the Senate, but we've already have over 100 members from the states below, which I may be missing a state, so I apologize if I did. But it's a very robust caucus, and I would just ask that if your state is reflected here, or if it's not, to make sure that your hometown member is on the caucus. It's an easy ask. Sometimes, members are concerned about kind of how much work is going to have to go into it, if they're going to have to, sign on to particular policies. And, we've really made an effort to have it be about education and awareness. And so, we don't typically take policy positions, and, we don't require that members sign on to various bills. But at the same time, once they are a part of the caucus, that stuff becomes a no-brainer. They get it. So, in conclusion, as I mentioned before, I would really just ask that in your meetings, I think, which are tomorrow, to include the Rare Disease Caucus in your ask list. We understand that you have a lot of very important issues that you're talking to members about, and that your time is limited, but we think this is just a really important aspect of it, and we also, I think there's going to be one-pagers in your packets, so you have to. But thanks again for having me today, and good luck with the rest of this week. I have to say, this is the largest group that I've ever spoken to, so I'm a little nervous, but I think that it's such an incredible testament to this community. And I've been working with the congressman for almost 5 years now, and I have met the most incredible people through this process and through this community, and I feel very fortunate that you allowed me to be a part of it today. So thank you.